So with players, that's why, the old school major league guys, I shouldn't even say old school, current major league players that are going to be Hall of Famers, what do they try to do? They set the ball out in front of home plate and they try to hit a low line drive off the back of the cage off a tee. And if you can't do that, you can't play at that level. And they're exactly right. Because the only way to do that is to come in flatter to be able to extend through that ball and hit it off the back of the tee. But if you drop down in here like this, and then you try to hit it off the back of the cage, it doesn't work. Okay, because if you bottom out back here, what happens? You either stay flat and miss the ball by 4 inches, or you correct it and come up, and that's when you, once in a while, launch balls really far. And the other 85% of the time, you just barely get under it. Okay, so anyway, not really talking about LeMahieu. What I want to do is I'm going to show you the point of this pitch to the catcher's mitt. Okay, when does he get on it? Okay, he gets on that plane probably here. Now the camera is behind the hitter here, the view. So this is actually out in front a little bit more. Okay, everything's going to look more out in front. I guess that's the best way to say it. So he hits his ball here and it looks like it's 10 inches in front of his front foot. It's probably more like 3 inches in front of his front foot. Okay, but again, if we go back, here's the point of the pitch. His meat of his barrel gets there, and then he stays on it, and then watch his extension through it. That's what saves him. That right arm staying through to get him to this pitch, because he probably was a little bit early. He probably would have rather. It's much easier to hit that pitch there in the air, okay? Yeah. But the further out in front you go, the more your barrel's working up to your follow-through. So if you don't have this good extension, it doesn't work. So what does he incorporate? Why is his swing so good? Number one, he gets low. Look at his back shin sink down into it. Okay? He has a weight shift. He steps forward. He gets the weight off of his back foot. Okay? There's no weight here. All the weight's here. Then after his body stops rotating, then the weight hits his back foot. Okay? So he has a weight. He has a load. He has a good weight shift. That's not crazy. He gets to a good torque position, meaning when his front foot lands and his knee starts to open and his hips start to open, his chest stays back, okay? He doesn't have bad drag. When he rotates his hips, what's next? He rotates his upper body. He doesn't use his hands. There's no hand movement there. There's no wrist movement. He's simply turning his hands with his shoulders, okay? So there's no bad drag. The knob stays in front of the back elbow, okay? Then once we get here, his head doesn't move. Now his arms are going to kick in because his body's starting to decelerate. His body's still rotating, but it's not rotating as fast, okay? It's starting to decelerate so his arms can come in. And then now he's going to use his arms once he gets his barrel in this contact zone here. Now he's going to use his arms and hands to try to get that barrel to extend all the way through to his power V position. So he gets to a great power V. Well, let's go back to contact. We get him back to contact. He was a little bit out in front and messed up and hit a home run here, but that's all right. We won't give it back. But you can see contact here. His right palm is up. His elbow is now out in front of his body. It's not pinned here. Okay. His back shin is very low. Not sure it has to be any lower than that. Okay. But he's got long legs. His front leg is beginning to lock out. And then as we go into his power V position, he still hasn't rolled his wrist yet. Okay. Notice how his left wrist and left forearm is still visible and his right wrist is underneath. And then he finally rolls his right forearm over there, okay? So